afternoon, YouTube! The Savage 64F. My personal nightmare. I have some problems. Perhaps some of you 64F owners, perhaps, may be able to help. But I do have to call Savage on Tuesday when they're open again, because they're closed on Monday. Kind of sucks, but that's okay. I got a 1-year warranty, and I just bought this thing. So I talked to Ollie's about it today, told him about the problems I'm having. And one guy is like, never heard of that, especially in a 22. Like, it shouldn't be slamming the hell out of the bolt that way. This thing is like a friggin' almost like feels like a shotgun going off sometimes. Now this has the left-hand bolt because I'm a left-handed shooter and it is a semi. I've been spit in the face before with a right-handed eject system. So I figured if I'm going to buy a semi-auto, I want the bolt on the other side. I'll pay the extra. And I paid about $300 and some for this little puppy. Canadian, obviously. And I share one bipod between 3 rifles. But I took the scope off today because I have a really bad feeling this thing's definitely going to have to go back to Savage. In which case, I may not see my rifle again until probably Christmas by the time they're done with it. I don't know what their backlog or their warranty system is like and how fast they get off the hop on stuff, but I'm going to definitely ask a lot of questions on the phone. Now, some of the problems I'm having with this thing, I've got a perfect scope. It's my Leaper 6x32, and there's nothing wrong with my scope. That thing has been verified and over-verified way too many times, and I've had that scope a couple of years. It has never once let me down. However, when I bore sighted this puppy, it should have got me on paper because I bore sighted 425 yards. Well, that was a nightmare and a half trying to get on paper with my ammo that I was trying. So you try another ammo and another and another and another. And finally, I was able to figure out some just random dialing that I did, and it got me on paper. I found a hole that I made, and I was like, okay, back to bullseye, transfer to the hole, which brings it back, right? Okay, so that's a neat little trick you can do. Works well if you can keep your rifle steady. So, we got it on paper finally. Then we started over again, and we started with our CCI standard. We went through Gulia, we went through other CCI ammo, we went through other stuff too that I have. I have like 15 types of ammo I went through. I didn't even go through all my stuff. I have a lot of 22. I've been freaking hoarding. Plus what my buddy gave me too, which was a lot. So, anyhow, I have never in my life even had an air gun this problematic. Never mind a firearm. Even my GXP 22LR has not given me half the problems that this thing has. Okay, those were simpler to work out. Change the mounts, that made a big difference. Okay, sit there and actually go through and shot after shot and work things out. We found out Ely contact and that gun get along just fine. Okay, and I'm sure there's a even more tighter grouping ammo than less than a dime that I can get my hands on for that gun. That's another day though. But this thing slams so violently, it is like, I don't get it. Like 22 even in a semi should not be that nasty. But for some reason, and yet the bolt is pretty stiff, right? As it should be. And, you know, you're sitting there and you're shooting, you know, like on the bipod and, you know, baggy back here. And, you know, so we're keeping everything good and steady. And it is a 22, so we're not really worried much about recoil. I can't find any kind of bending in the barrel whatsoever. It does have like a usual amount of, just a micro amount of flex because it is a free floating barrel, which that would be normal because even my other one's like that. There's nothing loose. I've checked for snugness. It's tight as a doornail, man. Like, there is nothing on this thing that is loose that I can find, okay? Even the bolts are still just as snug as they were when I brought the thing home. So nice and snug, right from the factory. So none of that's vibrated loose, or I could understand certain things, right, happening. The rear sight, this was my biggest pet peeve. Now, this thing has open sights with the option to use a scope because it's a 11mm 3/8 dovetail. So you have the option to use a scope. Okay, now I was using a scope, right? But I left the sights on because it looks better, right? Anyway, this rear sight was centered when I got the rifle. And, you know, you can do this all you want with your fingers. That is not moving, okay? At all. It vibrated right off the gun, okay? Like, I kid you not. I lie to you not. My wife can confirm it. It vibrated right off the gun. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, and the amount of slam that this thing does, you know, and it's like, so I talked to Ollie's and I said to the guys, well, maybe there's something loose inside the you know, in the receiver area. So I don't know, but I've never, like, I've shot some semi-autos before and none of them were as violent as this thing is, you know. Now, of course, I tried all kinds of different ammo. I even tried my CCI hypervelocities, okay, which have quite the bang to them. So same as the Stingers, Federal Punch, all of these ammos, even the CCI Standard was slamming the living crap out of this thing, and they're only like 1070 FPS. But with that problem, I could not even get anything to really group with this thing at all. Nothing. I'm going to ignore that, actually. Voicemail. So anyway, I thought, all right, let's just take the rest of this off because it was only on by a hair anyways, you know, didn't fall completely, but enough. So I put that in my ammo box so I didn't lose any parts. Kept shooting to try and sight this thing in, and I am having the worst luck ever. The only ammo I couldn't try out was my Ely Contact because I ran out of it in my Savage by the time I got it dialed in perfect, and I figured, hey, let's shoot the last 10 rounds or whatever I had left in my second box, and it's staying true, so we're good. Ely Contact it is. Ordered 4 more boxes of that this morning when I went into Ollie's. So anyhow, so they told me I got to call the manufacturer, deal with that, and that's fine. It's the way it is. It's warranty. It's a gun. Now, I have not had any problems with the mag itself. I did find a few ammos, by the way, from a Gula, actually one, to be absolutely correct, that will not cycle properly. Like, it'll fire a shot, and then you go to pull the trigger, nothing. So you got to manually pull the bolt, load the next round. It does not like the Agula for some reason. Other rounds that are higher powered than the Agula, not a problem. And funny thing is the CCI is weaker than that Agula, yet the CCI has no problem cycling. It never misses a beat. I don't know. It's just a weird thing going on. Now, certain ammos will normally not eject, I get that, but this is ejecting the shot, okay? But one box out of, oh shit, way too many to freaking count. And that was the only box that just didn't like this gun at all. And that, I'm okay with that part, but it doesn't matter because that ammo was sucky in this thing anyhow. But it vibrated that right off, and this hasn't even moved on the front. Now, my crown is good on this. I've inspected the crown and everything. The gun was all clean before I even started to fire it today, because I clean my guns every time I'm done shooting them, right? So I come home and put them up and start cleaning them out, get all the crud and stuff off. Anyway, so it wasn't from a dirty barrel or an over dirty barrel from anything. And, you know, running Fowler shots and then more shots, and then I even tried, you know, like a whole mag of Fowlers, and then 2 mags dumping down range to try and get this thing to do something. And it just would not. It would not cooperate. It just, I don't know. So, that's why this is not a review at this time, okay? Because if I was to review this right now, it wouldn't be looking good. And yet, this is the most popular rifle that Savage sells because it's also their cheapest, right? And, well, as much as a lot of YouTubers say that this is a fantastic rifle, I'm not really that keen on agreeing with them right yet. Let's find out first what Savage has to say, which, like I said, could be freaking Christmas. But if they do tell me what they find and what they had to fix on it, at least we'll know. Because we can get defective rifles, and it's pretty damn clear this thing is definitely defective, especially when your rear sight won't even stay on the damn thing without going, you know, at the side, right? That's a bad thing. And then the violent slamming, that's another one. So I don't know what's up with this, but I'm not about to take it apart myself because I'm not a gunsmith for firearms. I'm an air gunsmith, which is different. And but I do know how to take it apart. I have videos on that, but I'm not going to because it is under warranty. And my rule is if it's under warranty, I do not screw with it. Cleaning is one thing, not a big deal. But it's time to see what Savage has to say when I talk to them on the phone. Maybe they'll have an idea. You know, I have no clue. But when I started looking up this gun, I couldn't really find anything really bad about it. So I figured, hey, it's a good buy. It's a good, accurate gun. Not that you're going to get as precision accuracy as you would with a bolt action, but you're going to get damn good accuracy either way. And this thing is not even anywhere near shooting accurate enough to even trust it for going hunting. You know, so it's just really that bad. The other problem I have is the vast majority of YouTubers I've watched, they're not even doing paper targets. They're shooting at gel or they're shooting at steel targets. They're not shooting at paper. So we don't know what it really does on paper unless I missed a couple of those videos. I'm going to go back and look some more because any of the shots that I fired will definitely group large enough to shoot at any steel target pretty well. Okay, and it's going to hit, right? So you can't say a gun is accurate just because it can hit steel. You can say a gun is accurate when you show, hey, this is what it does on the target, you know, and because I showed you guys my results on my GPX review video of the targets I shot there, and we found that Ely Contact seems to be the best out of everything I went through in the box, and there was still a lot of rounds I haven't touched yet, you know, so like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said I was a bit of a hoarder. So, but now I got to order a bunch more ammo. Anyhow, so let me know, have you run into this sort of nightmare? What was the solution? Did they just replace your rifle? Did they fix it? What did they do? What did they find? I'm kind of curious to know. In the meantime, guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. Any help you can give me for ideas would also be very much appreciated. Because this thing is driving me to the loony bin here. I mean, this is just stupidness at its best here. I mean, it's just like, I can't believe how many rounds I put through this thing yesterday to get nothing out of the deal. You know what I mean? It's just absolute lunacy how pathetic this thing is actually shooting. Like I said, I've never even seen an air gun shoot this crappy before. So what's going on with the firearm here? It should be doing well, but apparently not so. And I have, yes, inspected the rifling inside. It all looks good and clean and uniform, and I don't see any problems there. And like I said, even the crown, I can actually show you the crown on this too, and you can kind of get an idea. But the crown is good. You know, I don't have any issues. I didn't find any burrs or anything that would, you know, throw it off. But it's not just an accuracy issue. It's that whole violent slamming like a mother. And like I said, I've shot semi-auto 22s before, and none of them were not even in the same universe as slamming like a mother that this thing's doing. So I'm not sure what's happening there. But like I said, any help, very much appreciate it. Anyways, until next time, thanks and see ya!